What's going on, guys? I know I have to be more consistent with this, and I keep slacking and going back and forth. But anyway, I wanted to talk about connections that we have with our kids, and I think it's kind of important because I've had this conversation a few times, and something just happened this week and a couple weeks ago where it kind of hit home. I know when we get divorced, we always wonder how our kids are going to be and what's going to happen, and are they going to side with one parent or the other? And that's always been on my mind ever since I actually filed. And it's been a little over 10 years I've been divorced. And my kids were 4 and 7 at the time. Now they're going to be 15 and my oldest is 18. And I know the past 5 years, actually let me go back a little bit. Past 2 years have been great. That I can say. But I can say 5 years ago, I was going through a transition along with my son, and we kind of lost that connection. He was that guy that I always loved being around, and he loved being around me. And once middle school hit, and he started getting his girlfriends and his friends, that connection was gone a little bit. And we started butting heads a lot more than I wanted to, especially him being my first, and you have that bond. 2 years ago, a relationship ended and kind of that toxicity was out. And we started getting that connection back and wasn't really sure what was going to happen. And when time goes on and you don't have that bond with your kids or you feel like it's lost, getting that connection back sometimes feels a little bit uncomfortable or weird or awkward. But I was glad we could laugh again, we could talk. And a few weeks ago, I think it's been about a month now, our dog got sick. She's been sick for 2 years. She had a small cell lymphoma, so she had cancer. And I mean, Jesus, they said 4 to 6 months. It's 2.5 years later, we finally had to put her down. But she was a trooper, and my oldest son wanted to come with me. What struck me most out of anything, I was shocked that he wanted to come because some kids just really don't want to see that. But again, he just turned 18 at the time and becoming an adult. But the hug that I got after is what really hit home. He's not that I can say he's back. He's never really away, but I missed that more than anything. So I know after 10 years of being divorced, going back and forth, having that connection, losing it, when things really were down and out, especially something like that was tragic, more for him than anything, just because she was like his favorite. To have that hug, all that other bullshit went away. I mean, my father even passed 3 years ago, and I didn't get a hug like I did with the dog. So it was really, really important. And I've always wanted to come and speak about that. But again, I just kept putting in the background, saying, nah, I'll do it again. I'll do it later, something like that. So again, I have to get off my ass and be more consistent with this. But today, just 5 minutes ago, I'm like, fuck this. I got to get the camera. I got to reach out and talk about this. Door opened up. Did not expect him to be here whatsoever because it's not his day. And again, he's 18. So it really doesn't matter if it's his day or not. He can come and go as he pleases. He's an adult. But his high school year is going to be over soon. I know it's only November, but Jesus Christ, it's going to happen within 8 months, and he's going to be off to college. Last year, it was vocational school. He wanted to be an electrician. Didn't get into the program because he was on a waiting list. When he finally got in, he liked the schedule, and he didn't want to just get there until like the middle of the year, which is understandable. Now he's thinking about graphic design, and he's thinking about schools where he's not really sure what he wants to do yet. Some schools are in Florida, but the issue right now is his mom. And the last thing I want to do is come between him and his mother. We have our different views. We got divorced. Obviously we had our different views, but she is adamant about staying in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. He doesn't know what he wants to do at all. He's confused. You're asking an 18-year-old to go to school for 4 or 6 years, however long it takes, to decide on what they want to do with their life. First of all, it's a huge pressure we put on people to begin with. I'm going to be 48. I still have no idea what the hell I want to do with my life. But for him to be here and to ask for my advice was another thing that really hit home, because again, we butted heads. I have no fuse. I don't want to say a short fuse, but I don't have a fuse. Sometimes I fly off the handle, and he knows that. But the past 2 years, things have been really good to where, again, like I said, we talk. He listens, I listen. We don't butt heads. And my short fuse, I mean, it's gotten longer and longer as time gone on. And it's not just with my kids, it's just with everybody in general. I don't fly off the handle like I used to. Of course, I still have my moments. I'm human and it happens. But for him to come and sit down and ask for my advice, and the only thing I said to him was, listen, you're 18. I can give you my opinion. I can steer you in certain directions, but you have to make that decision on your own. And basically what I told him was, when you're making these life decisions and you listen to other people, and it's something you truly don't want to do, as time goes on, there's going to be resentment. If you're going to go to college and you really want to go to a certain school, you really want to have a certain major, you can't let people influence you or talk you out of that decision. We all have to make our own mistakes. We all have to make our own failures. And the only way we learn from them is by going through it ourselves. I listened to my father about being a teacher. Was it what I really truly wanted to do? No. Did I enjoy it when I was doing it? Yeah, it was a great career for me. But as time went on, I just really wasn't for me. I knew I probably should have went to college or even actually vocational school to be a carpenter. But I never went that route. He was always about the union. You get great benefits. You're with your kids in the summer. You're really not with your kids in the summer because you're working all friggin' summer. You barely make any fucking money. I mean, I was bartending every goddamn weekend, but again, that's not the point. The point is I don't want him to have any resentment, and I don't want him to be angry at anybody because he listened to them. And again, I told him, I'm not going to get involved with what you and your mom are discussing, but you have to understand this is why she's thinking this way, or I have a feeling that's why she's thinking this way. I'm not her, and I can't tell you what she's thinking. But this is my opinion. You have to make your decision, and I'll stand by you 110%. But again, I can't make those choices for you, just like she can't make those choices for you either. But the whole point of this is the fact that he didn't go to anybody else. He knows that I won't bash his mom, and he can ask for my advice. I knew something was wrong when he came in here, and his head was down. He looked up, he looked like he was kind of upset. It's like, she just doesn't listen to me. And I used to be that person. I wasn't sure if I listened to him. And my father was hard-headed, and he was never the type of person to apologize. And the one thing he said to me was, I wish I was the father to you that you are to your kids. And that hit home. It hit home big time, because that was his apology. And I've always tried to be that father to my kids, to where they know, regardless of whatever happens, they can come to me. I think what broke the ice was my dog passing away. And as much as she was a blessing while she was alive, I think she was just as much of a blessing that day when we had to put her down. And for him to be here, just to ask for advice and to talk, is huge, because I thought we lost that. And more than anything, we didn't. And it was just all that bullshit going on in my head, which I know a lot of us do. We all have that talk, and we just have that shit running around in our heads. This is what's going on. This is what they're thinking. But we also know that's not true. And the other piece of advice I gave him was, write it down on paper, how you're feeling. Exactly the stuff that you're telling me, you have to tell your mom, because she needs to hear it. And sometimes when you're with that person, we're so stuck in our ways to where they'll hear what we're saying, but they won't listen to what we're saying. They'll hear the words, but they won't listen to the meaning. And I think she needs to hear that, just the way that I heard him. And do I want him to go to school in Florida? Not really. I'm going to miss the kid. If that's where he wants to go, I can't say, no, you can't go. And I would never try to hold that against him or over his head. And will I try to help him pay for school? Yes. The other student loans? Yes. Are there other means for him to get money for college? Yes. But I think the biggest factor of him coming here was important. I told him, just write down on a piece of paper what you're thinking and say, since I don't, and just say, like, I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying, because I'm not set on going definitely away to a certain school, but I want to have my options open. And again, the whole point of all of this was, as time goes on, we feel like we lose our kids because there were these sweet little innocent children that always looked up to us. And we know how middle school kids are. They're changed, the attitudes, freshman, sophomore, seniors. The fact that he's turning into an adult and he can come and talk to me as an adult was more than I could ever ask for. I think I kind of got my Christmas present early. And for anybody out there thinking that they lost their connection with their kids, you really haven't. The girl I'm seeing right now, she's living with us and got engaged. She even said that she felt like that she lost the connection with her daughter. And something happened recently to where she realized that she hasn't either. So I know we all feel that way when we go through these cycles, because when you have both parents that are married living in the home, you always bounce ideas off one another. You know your kids can be mad at one and they're going to go to the other and have that balance. When you're divorced, you don't know what's going on in the other house, especially when you don't talk. And again, to have him come and ask for my advice and to talk and to have that bond was more than I could ever ask for. So I hope this helps. If you feel like you lost that connection, I can tell you right now, it does come back. For me, it came back more than I could have ever asked for. It came back twice within the last 4 weeks. So keep doing what you're doing, and don't let any of this stuff get to you. Talk soon.